That was all in that era, like the 90s was like, I would go to Mysore and stay until I didn't have a rupee in my pocket. While I was there for these extended periods of time, of course you meet people from all over the world. So it was a very informal thing where people invite me to come teach in the UK or Europe or Australia, or any, all places in the world. And I'd have some gig lined up between there and Colorado. And then I'd charge a plane ticket home, go teach a workshop, make some money, get home. That went on for some time, and there was hardly anybody doing that. Dina Kinsberg and myself were probably the only women during that era who were out there teaching international. And that went on through the 90s, and then things really changed when I moved to Cresttown and actually had a homestead and a home and a place and was tending the hearth. And I didn't get out so much anymore, and I didn't want to go anywhere. So I found it. I found where I really wanted to sink my roots. It self-evolved that what happened was, instead of me doing the traveling, people would come to me. And even on this property that was pretty rough, people would come and they'd love being in Cresttown. And I do these small group retreats. So it didn't change significantly what I was doing, but how I was doing it. And we have a proper space now, and a proper shala, and a very intentionally created retreat space. I don't accommodate people there, but people come, I find them a place to stay. Every single inch designed intentionally and built sustainably. It about killed me to do this project, right? To build from nothing, from raw land, come up with the money, get stressed, make all the decisions, have your head in this physical world, making all these decisions about materials and how we were going to do this in the most sustainable way that I could afford to do. I'm always, it's not about the physical, this is a spiritual practice, it's about your mind, but it forced me to be on the physical plane and make all these decisions. It was a hard, long labor. And then Shakti Sharanam came about and got the space. Settling and putting my own roots was really important. I could only travel the globe and do all that moving around for so long. At some point, settle down, have a space. And another big draw for me there was the Hedikande Universal Ashram. It's a Harikan Babaji community, beautiful temple, beautiful space in Cresttown. And so that was a big pull for me to the area. And in retrospect, and from what other people said to me, even years later, it's like, geez, Annie, at that point in your life, you could have done anything. You had nothing. Didn't have a penny to my name, didn't have a lot of possessions, could have moved to any yoga community probably in the world, but it didn't even enter my mind, because what I was doing, it's like I found it. And it's like, okay, well, we'll just have to build another space. But I didn't even think about moving away from Cresttown. Didn't even occur to me. And honestly, I don't know if I could have pulled it off someplace else, because there's such a strong community when you're in a small town with no economy. People help each other and they rally. And I had a lot of help and a lot of support on many levels from my student community and the Cresttown community at large to kind of get through this and, pull off some personal loans and this and that and kind of work this jigsaw puzzle to get this place to happen. Maybe somewhat selfishly, being in a clean, pure environment that supports my own practice and my own values. So there's a lot of young homesteaders there. There's a lot of energy conscious people. There's 25 spiritual centers in an entire community of, 1,400 people. So now there's this responsibility of tending to that, doing the puja, doing my own personal sadhana, doing my personal practice. And then teaching a class happens, or breakfast happens, or something. And then that middle part of the day is digging dirt, moving rocks, moving stones, trying to get a garden to grow in high altitude desert. And like-minded people, a lot of these people have their own practices, whether it's an Ashtanga yoga practice or what. There's a meditation practice or something that goes on. And so that morning is is sacred to a significant portion of our population. To be in the quiet and to extract from their life and their phones and their computers, and as much as they can do that, it's a pretty quiet place.